Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of It's Stu's News. Whoa, what a week! What an absolute week we've had. A bit longer in a week. Normally try and like to do these on Friday, but there's been some big news comes out. I'm glad I waited actually, because there's a lot to cover this week. There is a lot going on. But yeah, welcome to It's Stu's News. This is me wrapping up the week's news or capturing like any big news stories that's come out, and we've got some massive ones for you today. But first, before we get into some of these big ones that you can see about Xbox, let's cover some of the stuff from the end of last week, and let's see where that takes us. So the first one I'm going to start with is iPhone 15 Pro is the next AAA game console. Now, though a lot of people might know the new iPhone's coming out, but what a lot of people might not know is they did a whole like segment of it on like AAA gaming, and apparently the new iPhone can run games. I think it's going to have games like Resident Evil, Death Stranding, and Assassin's Creed when that comes out later in the year as well. I was like, what? What the hell? Really? So apparently these are going to be like native as well. It's not going to be like a mobile version of the game. It's going to be the full game that you can play on your iPhone 15. I was like, I'm not sure about this one. So essentially there's loads of articles around this if you want some more detail into it, but they revealed at their launch event, yeah, there you go, like it says there, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Resident Evil Village, and Death Stranding, to name a few. I think basically what iPhone are trying to do here with the new iPhone 15 is trying to rival things like the Steam Deck and other handheld devices like that. And essentially, looks like they're trying to get back in the gaming market. There's not a lot we know about it apart from these games that are coming, and we don't know how supported it's going to be in the future. But essentially, like the new iPhone 15 is, or the A17 Pros, like that's powering the phone. It is. I'll be honest. It is a unbelievable piece of kit in such a small device as well, especially. But they are basically targeting some of these AAA games. Like I said, there's not much to say on it apart from we know that these games are coming. I think we just gotta watch this space. However, like it says in this article, there is a huge caveat to this. Like, how realistic is it? Yes, they're going to do this as part of the launch. They've probably got an agreement with developers, but going forward, there's no way they'll be able to compete with Xbox and Sony. No way, and even Nintendo to that matter. There's just no way. Apple have been known in the past to be very strict with like their market and their downloads and their fees that they take for certain things. And in other news this week, there's been a lot of drama about fees and Unity, which I ain't gonna go into in this news round because it's just too much sad news. I only like to cover the good stuff. But essentially, yeah, I'm not sure how well this is going to go down because trying to convince developers to develop for iPhone, iOS, it's another operating system that they'd have to develop for alongside Xbox, Sony, PC, Steam, any other operating systems that are out there. Whether they can build them relationships with the developers, like Sony and Microsoft have had these relationships for years, and even if they make it slightly difficult for developers to launch, they'll still launch games on them platforms because they've built that up over time. And Apple kind of like keep the markets to itself, like they're very strict with like their app store and everything like that. So I'm not sure how all the downloads are going to work. It is a massive audience. Obviously, everyone I know's got an iPhone. I mean, not an iPhone 15 yet, but if this is something they can tap into, then great. If it's another stream for people to play games, which is what we want. I just think that it's not I don't think it's realistic. I don't think it's sustainable. I don't think it's something they're able to do long term. I just think that it's going to be a gimmick, I think, for a little bit, and then there'll be more and more stress. There'll be more and more news articles about it. Developers will be like, "Oh, Apple have like done us over," and all that kind of stuff. I just don't see it being a long term thing. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it does allow people to play some games on Apple, on their iPhones and stuff, like proper games anyway. Well, not proper games, but like AAA games. But yeah, essentially, the one positive I will give it is it's powerful. Apparently, it's got all the ray tracing features. It's got all the advanced like 4K, etc. All that techie stuff that basically you want from a game, basically. Frame rates, things like that. Watch this space really on this one. But yeah, like I said, I don't think it's gonna go much further. It was just interesting that Apple themselves did a whole segment on it, for their launch of their new phone. So I think they're quite serious about it. I just think I think they're biting off more than they can chew, and I think they are gonna have quite a big shock when they start to actually speak to developers, like if they want to do this en masse. But I could be wrong. What do I know? I'm just a tool with a microphone and spitting out opinions here. But yeah, so I just wanted to drop that little news down there before we go into some of the big juicy news that's come out. It's just dropped very, very recently. There's a few other bits I just wanted to cover quickly as well. So last week we had Nintendo Direct and Sony's State of Play. So for those that don't know, they are like every so often the Nintendo and Sony do like what games are coming, and they showcase like trailers and gameplay and stuff like that. So the Nintendo Direct one was a lot of Mario, as you probably know, which is great. And the Sony one was a big focus on Spider-Man, which is coming recently as well. But I won't go into them too much. If you want some more detail on the Nintendo one, I actually did a stream of that one, like a little watch together thing. So you can go back and watch that if you look on my channel below and look at the like past live streams, you'll be able to see all that there, so you can get some more details. Oh yeah, interesting. There was a few other news stories knocking about as well about Unity, the game engine, but I've done some research, and my initial reaction I don't think was correct, and there's still a bit of clarity going around it. So I might cover it when we know a bit more, see how impactful it is. But at the moment, it's all a bit up in the air, so I don't want to touch that. And yeah, right, let's get into the exciting news of this week. Oh, there's some big stuff come out. Right. So dropped this morning by Tom Warren of The Verge. Extremely reliable source. Excellent person like for articles. He's been doing some major stuff on dropping some major stuff on Twitter recently. And essentially what's going on is new Xbox. Excuse the image. The image is a bit pixelated because it's been expanded so you can see it a bit better. But we've got some new Xbox hardware coming. So, bit of background. This is apparently all been leaked as part of the court cases with the FTC around the whole Activision Blizzard merger. I mean, all you have to do is type in Activision or FTC and you'll see thousands and thousands of news articles about that. It's been going on for years. But as part of that, they've had to publicly release some of their like roadmaps, essentially, so they could acquire the studio Activision Blizzard, who most famously do Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, things like that, Diablo, and they've had to release a load of stuff, and apparently now it's came public as part of their roadmap. They had to share with what plans they had to the FTC, and that's been leaked. I don't know if it's been leaked like a bad leak or if it's publicly like available. But this has been shared by Tom Warren from The Verge, and like I said, very trustworthy, very insightful. And there seems to be a what would we call it, a mid-gen refresh? Yeah, probably would call it a mid-gen refresh. So they're going all digital with a new Xbox. And I believe I got a timeline a bit further on, which I'll show you in a sec, but I think it's coming in 2025. So let's just go through some of the details first. But essentially, it's the first thing you'll notice is it's a completely different shape to the Xbox Series X. Xbox Series X. I always have a hard time saying that. Very strange. Xbox Series X. This one's like cylindrical and it's rounded instead of the square box shape. My initial opinions, I'm not sure. It looks like a giant Alexa. It's like, Alexa, cook me dinner. And like, if it'd do that, that'd be mint, but I don't think it does do that. But essentially, like, it's got some very small details here around it. Apparently it's got faster Wi-Fi, new Wi-Fi technology, reduced power, and which is great for like the sustainability side, which I know Xbox has been focusing on quite a lot, and it all helps us with our electrical bills as well. So that's an absolute result. And yeah, new design. It's also going to have more storage as well. So it's giving 2 TB. You might be able to see in the bottom left corner. 2 TB, which is terabytes. The current Xbox Series X, I've done it again. Xbox Series X comes with 1 terabyte, or is it 500? I think it depends on the model. But this one's going to come with more storage, basically. I'll just say that it's going to come with more storage. It's got some new powerful USB port. And yeah. Like I said, yeah, some of the Wi-Fi stuff, the reduced power, etc. Eventually, it's just a bit of a internal. Now, I don't think it's gonna. Well, what we know at this point, I don't think it's going to be anything improvements on terms of like the frame rates, the graphics cards, the anything like that. I don't think they're really touching into that. I think they're just actually improving some of the actual hardware, so like the USB ports, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, all that stuff, rather than the overall performance of the console itself. So, and you'll see in the bottom left, same great price, $499 as the current Series X. That's the plan anyway. We'll see what the current situation in the world does by that. It'll probably go up by that time, and they might decide to add more features as well, newer features. But you might notice in the bottom left there that there is, it says something, all new, more immersive controller. And I'll go into that now. Bang. Not only are they bringing out a new console, they're also bringing out a new controller. And I must admit, I must state as well, this is a new standard controller, I believe. So it's not like a Pro Series or a what's the Xbox Elite one. It's not what I think this is the one that actually comes with the hardware as well. So, which is cool. So, initial thoughts on this. I'm not sure about the look of this, to be honest, either. The white at the top. I'm not sure if the black's at the right place. I don't know if I would have swapped that and made the handles white and the rest black. I think the buttons and everything looks cool. So let's just go through some of the detail of it as well. So it's got, apparently it's direct to cloud, play anywhere. I'm not sure what that means. I think that just means you can use it on any device. I don't know. Someone can explain that one in comments, etc. Because I ain't got a clue. It's got better wireless as well to pair with the console. Better Bluetooth, and it's got new mobile app features, which I thought was very interesting. So, you can pair. It says here seamlessly pair and switch. Not sure what that entails yet. We've not got the detail, but it looks like it's going to work with the Xbox app a lot better, which is interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. One of the big, like, in terms of the actual controller is all about this haptic feedback. So, for layman's terms, or I call it the old classic vibration of a controller. So it looks like they're going down more of a haptic feedback style rather than just the standard vibration, which they had made some improvements on. But it's nothing near the PlayStation one. So it'll be interesting to see if it does start to rival the PS5 controller, the DualSense there, with that haptic triggers and all that stuff. And as you can see as well, it's also got speakers as well. So the haptics double as a speaker. Interesting. So I don't know if certain sounds will like the PlayStation 1. Don't know if certain sounds will like come out of the controller. I don't know if you shoot someone and he goes, ugh. I don't know if that will come out of the controller or something. For me, to be honest, this is all gimmicky stuff. Because I'm someone who turns off controller vibration anyway. I know. You probably heard me say it before, but I'm one of them people. So this doesn't really appeal to me, but it's a good feature, and it's good that they've tried to realise that PlayStation are probably doing it better. In the bottom left, the biggest one for me there is quieter buttons and thumbsticks, and I've noticed this a lot recently. Actually, I was playing a couple of days ago, and I was playing something quite intense. I can't remember what it was, and essentially I was like, oh my god, these buttons are so, like, I had my headset off. I had one ear out on the side so I could like hear the door and stuff like that. But I never realised actually how loud a Xbox controller is. The button presses, the thumbsticks, it's all quite loud. So I'd love to get my hands on one of these. I can't wait to get my hands on one of these and see how like smoother they are as well. And that kind of ties into the next point, like the info on the right. New thumbsticks, modular thumbsticks, like improved longevity. I've never had issues with the Xbox Ones, but great. Continued build improvements. I don't know what that means. I think it's just more advanced hardware on the controller, basically. Another one that people will love: rechargeable and swappable batteries. Yay! Now, yay! No one can take the mick out of us now to say, what? Xbox controller, you have to use AAA batteries still. What is it? 1991? It's like, finally. I mean, you can buy them now, but as a standard, it's going to come with a chargeable battery pack. Great. Get in. That's what we like to see. There was one thing on here as well that stood out to me that I don't really know. Repair and disassembly. So does that mean it makes it easier access to take apart? Does that void your warranty anymore? Because they're always really strict with warranties and taking apart controllers. But I was like, interesting. Not sure what that means. Recycled material and less resin. Absolute result. Helps planet. Makes you feel good about gaming as well. So what more could you want? There's one other feature I'm going to point out here on the controller, and then I'll shut up because I'm fanboying a bit. I do love a good controller. But there's in the bottom right corner, you'll see there's something that says engage in delight, and it's lift to wake. I was like, ooh, that's interesting actually. So at the minute, you pick your controller up, hold the Xbox button, it turns on the controller. What this seems to be saying is you just pick up the controller and it turns on. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's not great if you're cleaning. If you just want to pick up the controller and move it. Every time it's like, it's turning on all the time, but I guess you could turn it off if you know you're going to clean or something. But I thought that was a really cool feature. I'm not sure someone can point out to me if PlayStation or Nintendo or whatever do this already, but I thought that was really cool. Just lift your controller up. If it's synced to your Xbox, it turns on itself. You don't have to do anything separate. One thing they did mention, it's got the same layout. Nothing's changing to the layout. There does seem to be an extra button right in the middle, right beneath the Xbox logo as well. I don't know if that's the app feature stuff. But yeah, we'll see. And I've never really looked at a Elite controller. I don't know if it's the same on there as well. But we've not seen the back. It's not showed the back. I don't think it's going to have like paddles like the Elite controller or anything. I think this is just going to be standard stuff. But yeah, very, very interesting. Like I said, it's it's all kicking off. So much news. Unbelievable. So this is like, these are all like screenshots of like basically Microsoft's presentation. And alongside this, they also released information about when they expect next gen. So it looks like they're targeting, if we look on the right hand side, all the other stuff is old. If we look on the right hand side, they are targeting next gen for 2028. 2020, what is it now? 2023, so that's what, 5 years? So the thing is, the Xbox been out 3 years already, so that's 8 years. I think that's about right, to be honest. Because if you throw into like COVID and lockdown and everything into that, I think that's probably about right. I mean, I know there's discussion about at the minute that they're already behind, like they need a mid-gen refresh. I mean, it looks like we are doing a mid-gen refresh. But however, I don't think it's urgent they do a mid-gen, because I feel like I've only had mine about 6 months, but I've had it for 3 years. It's crazy. We're not getting a full potential out of it as well. That's a different topic. I'm going off in a tangent. Apologies. But yeah, next gen 2028. Ooh la la. Ooh la la. So we've got a date. At least we've got a target. So people can now plan, decide what they want to do. Do you want to upgrade if you've not upgraded? I imagine you will. 5 years is a long time. But yeah, just want to show that as well. Nice little like dropped in there with all the communication from Tom Warren and from Xbox. And this was another launch timeline, so this has kind of been blown out of the water now, because I think this is what their original proposal was of these new features. So, on the left hand, starting from the left, the Celebi bile, no idea. That's the controller. So they're going to launch that $69.99, pretty much standard controller price. And that looks like it's going to launch end of May next year. So not that far. And it'd be good if you can use it with your current Series X. I imagine you can as well. But they weren't planning to announce that until Q4, which, are we in Q4 now? I think we might be. But I imagine they weren't going to announce that until later in the year, but this is kind of like came out and leaked. So some of these timings are a bit off. Because as you can see on the right hand side, Elwood 1 terabyte launch. So that's the I think that's the Xbox Series S code name for it. At $299, yeah, it will be. So the 1 terabyte version, I imagine they're making some changes to that one as well, and doing a like different version and improvements on Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and controllers and all that stuff. And then the Brooklyn was, yeah, so that's 2025, November 2020. So we can kind of expect to summarize, we can kind of expect by November 2025 next year, we can expect some new consoles, but on all fronts from Microsoft, from Xbox. As you can see here, this big green line, so Xbox Game & Beat, I think that's when they initially planned to announce the mid-gen console refresh, June next year. But we found out now and we came early. Unfortunately, it's just longer to wait, but oh well, it's good. It's good to hear things early. This is just their one little roadmap, and I wanted to throw that in there to just give people ideas of, okay, this is all cool stuff, but what are we talking about? So we've got 8 years in total for the cycle. We've got 5 years left until a new gen or next gen. But in between that, in 2025, in a couple of years, we've got the additional changes and improvements to the console, which is cool. There's one more Xbox news. I told you, there's a lot, man. There's so much. There's just so much news. It's just dropped like the past day or two. It's just mind-boggling. On top of all the gaming we have to do as well, it's just insane. And that was Oh, that's bright. This is simply an email from Phil Spencer to a couple of people I don't know. Other people might know who they are, but essentially what he's talking about in this email, I won't read it word for word, but there's some key things that you can point out in this email. This is an email addressing potentially buying Nintendo or acquiring shares in Nintendo. I was like, what? I mean, this email was from 2020, so this was all before they. In some of this email and stuff, he's talking about ZeniMax, which is Bethesda, which they purchased, which they acquired at the time. But at the same time, they were even debating acquiring Nintendo or shares of Nintendo, which is just absolutely insane that they think they could do that. He says it is likely we will be pushing for more from Nintendo stocks, which could create opportunities for us. It's like, what? Really? Oh yeah, this is what he says. Yeah, I don't see an angle to the near-term agreeable merger of Nintendo, but would be good move. So we are playing the long game. So essentially, he's basically saying it's on the radar and it has been thought about. I thought, oh my god, imagine if Xbox bought Nintendo. That'd be absolutely insane. I imagine Phil's going to get pulled into all sorts of interviews this week to be asked about that. And it'd be interesting to see what Nintendo say about it. See if they like, yeah, we talked to Nintendo, we talked to Xbox before. Nintendo are usually very, very blasé, but yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to drop that in there at the end. Alongside Nintendo, there was Warner Brothers Gaming as well. So yeah, Warner Brothers Gaming and ZeniMax. So at the same time as Bethesda, ZeniMax, it looks like they were talking about Warner Brothers Interactive Games as well, which are a big studio. They do what's the name on they're known for? Oh, there's quite a few. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know more recently. I think they have the rights for like Harry Potter and stuff. But essentially, what does he say? I'm just going to read the article a little bit here. I won't say Warner Brothers or Zenny is Nintendo, but both are for sale and gettable by us if things align. So he's talking about at the time when he was getting ZeniMax. Biggest obstacle in Warner Brothers is the IP ownership. So it looks like they didn't go down that route, and I'm not sure if they're still thinking about it. They said there's obstacles with ZeniMax, but they obviously overcame them because they've got them now. ZeniMax is blah 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 blah. ZeniMax. So yeah, it's just a discussion. Well, let me just reread what he said about Nintendo. I've had numerous conversations with the LT of Nintendo about tighter collaboration and feel like any US company would have a chance with Nintendo. We are probably in the best position. So it all started with tighter collab, which I think we might have seen a little bit with the GoldenEye stuff that released on Xbox and Nintendo, maybe. The unfortunate, or fortunate for Nintendo, he says, situation is that Nintendo is sitting on a big pile of cash. Just say it how it is. And until recently, it's not been pushed for further increases in market growth or stock appreciation. So basically, they haven't said they want anyone involved, I think. So I think he's a bit optimistic about this one, but I think he's just trying to get that conversation and go into the boardrooms and say, maybe. He said he's kept in touch with Mason Moffat, whoever that is, as he's been acquiring. It's likely we would be pushing for more from Nintendo stock, which could create opportunities for us. So they're trying to get their toe in the door, is what by the sounds of it. And this was 2020, so I'd love to see what it comes out and says now. But yeah, I'll let people read that in their leisure. You can pause, read it, etc., or go find the tweets from Tom Warren. But essentially, they're the parts I wanted to go through today. Whoa, that's a lot. That's a lot to take in. So just to recap, we had this acquisition, we had the timeline, we had the next gen 2028, we had new controller, which is coming 2025, or was it 2024 the controller? 2024 the controller. New mid-gen refresh of the Series X in 2025, which TBC, but loads of cool, like, slight changes to the box and the shape as well and stuff like that. So very, very interesting. Let's watch this space. But yeah, that's a wrap for the news this week. Like I said, a lot to take in. Thanks very much for listening, guys. If you've got any comments, want to discuss anything with me, drop them in the comments. Happy to have a chat about certain topics. What do you guys think about the mid-gen refresh? Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think this is enough? Obviously, we don't know much at this point. Do you think it's the right time? Do you think we should have just get a new console by 2025? I'd love to know what you guys think. If you can hit the like button as well, hit the subscribe button, it really helps. I love doing these news things. I love doing these videos. And it really helps my channel, and it really helps me keep making this old content for you guys and summarising the news. Not only do I do news, etc., but I also do gameplay. I'm going to start getting into some streaming, I think, as well. And got all sorts. If you check out my channel, you'll see all my different content on there. But that's it for this week. Hopefully no other news comes out, because I just can't keep up with all this in my brain. But essentially, they're the big stories from last week and literally, like, today. So good news, I think, all round. Let me know what you think. But yeah, anyway, nice one. See you all later. Bye for now. Have a great week. See you soon. Keep gaming, keep smiling. Enjoy. See you later, guys. Bye.